In the past couple of weeks, I've been able to spend some time with guys who played for me when I was a college baseball coach. I have been able to spend time with people that have been coaching clients of mine in the past, friends, and did a podcast recently with Eric Cressy that the topic came up about just being maybe more excited about seeing the success of the people that you've been able to coach, to serve, to help along the way than maybe your own brand, your own success, your own platform. And I thought that was a really important piece of our podcast because I know I recognize that a great deal. I can think of a couple college baseball coaches that played for me that have far surpassed any accomplishments I could have had as a coach. It's wonderful seeing guys that I coached go on and just become pillars in their community, great parents, just, successful in their own right, whatever success means to them. And then in the fitness industry, I look around and I would say that 90% of the people that I would consider reputable business coaches, and the business coaching landscape's a little bit of a mess, right? But the people I would consider reputable, the Vince Gabriels, the guys at Business for Unicorns, the Luca Hocevar, Alicia Strager. I mean, these are people who, in many ways, were students, clients, franchisees, all of it. Minimum, they were in coaching programs or memberships. And in some cases, and frankly, in more than a few cases, a lot of these people that are out there doing incredible work and maybe reaching more people than I can reach, they were franchisees. And the reason I bring that up is because when I first got into the industry, I joined a mastermind, and there was a led by a gentleman that was one of the couple consultants, business coaches in the fitness and maybe more health club world at that point, and then would attended a couple workshops from somebody else who was a consultant at the time. And when both of them gathered that I started sharing some of my expertise with other people and what was working in our business with other people, they were very quick to kind of temper that, right? They needed to kind of be the quote unquote alpha. And yeah, they were quick to temper that. They needed to kind of be what maybe they would perceive as the alpha or something. And they wanted to win by keeping everybody down, right? Win by everybody else losing, I guess, is one way to look at it. And the interesting side of that is some other people that I would pay more attention to, like guys like Dan Kennedy, it's almost like he was better off because all these other people, from people who worked in various niche markets to guys who really dove into the internet, the Frank Kerns and Ryan Dices of the world or whoever, all kind of traced some of their stuff back to him. And I thought, man, that's such a better way to go, because if you're genuinely interested in people being successful, then you don't really want to see a ceiling to their success, right? Like, you want to see them keep growing. And I think one of the things you learn after you've been doing this for a while, and I've been coaching people for over 30 years now, is there's probably nothing more rewarding as a coach other than beyond seeing the people that you coach do great things. And it doesn't matter if it's when you're coaching them, they're succeeding on the field or in their own business, or when they graduate and move on. And maybe I've had a different perspective on this because I started out as a college sports coach where everybody graduates, right? Like, everybody is with you for a finite amount of time. So they're not always under your thumb, so to speak. They're not always stuck at that level or rung below where you're at. And so when I got into owning my own business, you know what? I mean, if somebody's a client, they're always a client. Like, I root for them ongoing because this is supposed to be a transformational experience. It's supposed to be, it's not just a transaction. And I think that's a big piece of coaching. I think that, don't get me wrong, I would love to find ways to collaborate with and work with people that go on to do great things that I align with their values, that I enjoyed coaching, because it's a people business, right? Like you love being around people. But if you're not graduating people who go on to succeed, then you're probably not doing a great job coaching. And if you're not rooting for them, then I'd probably question some of your motives as a coach. And so it, I think that's important because I see this very regularly in the fitness industry, and I'm sure this is in other industries too, but in our industry you see a lot of people who are rooting for somebody right up to the moment that they have to pause their membership or cancel their membership or whatever else, and then they become antagonistic, right? They become defensive, they become cynical about it, they may be a little passive aggressive when that name comes up later on. And it's not healthy, right? It's not healthy as a business for culture, right? It's one of those things where we each have the opportunity to make relationship deposits with each individual that we connect with. And hopefully we get to leave a mark that it's like, hey, you know what? I made some small deposit in this person's journey that has helped them become who they are. And if they go on to exceed what we do, that's great. If they go on to have success in another environment, you should be proud of that as a coach. You should be proud that they've gone on to do great things and you had the opportunity to contribute to that. And I think the people who view it that way almost always do better. They almost always are healthier as business owners because they don't have this scarcity mindset. They don't lose sight of the fact that there's always somebody else coming down the line that you can help. There's always somebody else that can benefit from what you have to offer the same way that the last graduating class benefited from what you have to offer. And so, I mean, you have to think about that as a coach. If not, man, I would tell you that maybe you need to go back to the drawing board and say, well, why am I in this in the first place? Do I care about the people that I serve? And I think it's impossible to be an effective coach long term if you don't. So root for people to win. If you could take any lesson from my time as a baseball coach going on to being a business owner, and you could probably trace this back to your coaches when you were young or your favorite teacher in school or something like that. Once they've had that impact on you, they're always your teacher. They're always your coach. They're always the people you trace that stuff back to. And I think that if we do our job right, we want to be that person for the people that we impact, even if they're not always in some sort of contractually obligated relationship with us. If you think about that, man, your business is going to grow. You're going to get more testimonials. You're going to have better social proof. You're going to have better retention. You're going to have people come back to you in some other chapter or season of their journey. And it's just going to be a whole lot more fulfilling. And if you have a business that's fulfilling, it's a lot easier to make it profitable. So if you want to win, see coaching through the lens of transformations.